Namaskar. The Prime Minister in his Independence Day address highlighted a range of women's issues, from combat roles in Navy and Air Force to abolition of triple talaq to providing sanitary napkins to at 1 rupee in fact, and setting up a committee also to deliberate on the minimum age for marriage. The Prime Minister said that our experience has been that whenever there is an opportunity for women power in India, they have brought laurels to the country, strengthened the country. Now today, women are not only working in underground coal mines, is what the Prime Minister said, but they are flying fighter planes, touching new heights in the sky. So that's going to be our focus on Newsnight tonight. My name is Mark Lynn. Let's begin with the headlines. India continues to make gains in the battle against COVID-19. The death rate in the country decreases to 1.93%. India has one of the lowest mortality rates in the world. The recovery rate has improved to 72%. 53,322 patients are cured in the last 24 hours. The total COVID tests done close in on 3 crores. Former cricketer and minister in the UP government Chaitanya Chaitanya is no more. He was undergoing treatment at a hospital in Gurugram after suffering from COVID. Vice President, Prime Minister, Defence Minister, Home Minister expressed grief at his demise. A day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's announcement from Red Fort, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh approves a plan for the NCC's expansion, about 1 lakh new cadets from 173 coastal and border districts of the country to be included in the NCC. Of these, a third will be girls. The Army, Air Force and Navy will provide training to these cadets. Preparing to create 5 crore jobs in the next 5 years in micro, small and medium enterprises sector, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says that the contribution of the MSME sector in GDP is expected to increase from the present 30% to 50%. The nation pays tribute to Bharat Ratna and former Prime Minister, late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, on his 2nd death anniversary. President, Vice President, Prime Minister and Defence Minister pay tributes to the former Prime Minister's memorial. The President, Ramnath Kovind, unveils a portrait of Vajpayee ji at ICCR on the occasion. The flood situation in Bihar remains grim. More than 81 lakh population of 16 districts are affected by the floods. 25 people have been killed so far. Darbhanga district is the worst affected by the floods. Agencies engaged in relief and rescue work. Light to moderate rain forecast over the next 2 days. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden releases a policy statement on Indian Americans. Also says his administration will stand with India and New Delhi in confronting the threats it faces if he is elected to office. Cricket legends and players alike recall Mahendra Singh Dhoni's contribution to the game and wish him well for his retirement. Captain Virat Kohli expresses his gratitude for the friendship and trust received from Dhoni, saying that he will always be his captain. ICC says that Dhoni inspired an entire generation and will be missed. Our top story: India is gaining momentum in this war against coronavirus as it continues to fight the virus vigorously. It is to be noted that India is in a much better position in many ways than other countries, with its continuous increase in the recovery rate and also reduced mortality rate. Efforts of the centre, the state governments, and well as the strategy of early testing, tracking and treatment have proven to be beneficial in combating the virus. In its COVID-19 case fatality rate, India has one of the lowest mortality rates globally that now stands at 1.93%, whereas India's recovery rate has reached nearly 72%, ensuring more patients are recovering. 53,322 patients recovered and were discharged in the last 24 hours. And with this number, the total recovered COVID-19 patients have increased to more than 18.6 lakh. The current active cases now stand at 6,77,444 in the country. And with efficient and aggressive testing, India is rapidly moving towards completing 3 crore COVID tests. 2 crore 93 lakh 9,703 samples were tested so far. Meanwhile, more than 7 lakh 46,000 tests have been done in the last 24 hours. And this has been made possible by the rapidly growing national network of diagnostic labs, which comprises 969 labs in the country, in the government sector, and 500 in the private sector, adding up to 1,469. Well, the virus has killed more than 50,000 people in the United States, and in just 23 days it took for the US to lose 50,000 people. Brazil registered that 50,000 mark in deaths in 95 days, but it took 156 days for India to reach that mark. Well, the former India opener and a minister in the Uttar Pradesh cabinet, Chaitanya Chaitanya, died today due to COVID-19 related complications after being put on life support for nearly 36 hours. His brother Pushpendra Chaitanya had said so. Chaitanya Chaitanya played for India 40 test matches. He was 72 years old. He's survived by his wife and son Vinayak. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over his demise.
Former Indian cricketer and Uttar Pradesh Minister Chaitanya Chaitanya passed away on Sunday following multiple organ failure. He was 72 years old. Chaitanya was initially admitted to PGI hospital in Lucknow after being tested positive for the novel coronavirus last month. Later, he was shifted to a hospital in Gurugram. Chaitanya was Minister of Military Welfare, Home Guards and Civil Defence in Yogi Adityanath government. Chaitanya was elected twice to the Lok Sabha from Amroha in Uttar Pradesh in 1991 and 1998 and was honoured with the Arjuna Award in 1981. President Ramnath Kovind expressed his condolences over the demise of Chaitanya Chaitanya. In a tweet, President said, "Sad to hear that UP Cabinet Minister Chaitanya Chaitanya is no more. A cricketer par excellence, Chaitanya was a down-to-earth politician and an outstanding parliamentarian. Condolences to his family, friends and countless fans." PM Modi has expressed grief over the demise of former cricketer Chaitanya Chaitanya. In his tweet, PM said, "Chaitanya Chaitanya ji distinguished himself as a wonderful cricketer and later as a diligent political leader. He made effective contributions to public service and strengthening the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. Anguished by his passing away, condolences to his family and supporters. Om Shanti." Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has expressed grief over the demise of Chaitanya Chaitanya and termed his death as an irreparable loss.
वे जितने लोकप्रिय खिलाड़ी थे उतना ही लोकप्रिय जननेता भी थे। 2 बार लोकसभा का चुनाव जीतना, 2017 में नौगांवा विधानसभा क्षेत्र से विधायक के रूप में चुनाव जीतना और एक सेलिब्रिटी होने के बावजूद जनता के बीच में जाकर के जनसेवा के साथ ही जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने खेल को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए भी और समाज जीवन के अलग अलग फील्ड में जाकर के अच्छे कार्य किए थे, वह सदैव अविस्मरणीय रहेंगे।
People from all walks of life have mourned the death of Chaitanya Chaitanya. Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar tweeted, "India's great batsman and Uttar Pradesh Minister Chaitanya Chaitanya's death is very sad. From 1970 to 80, we both worked together in the same building at Bank of Maharashtra. I have fresh memories. May God give his family and fans the strength to bear this grief. Om Shanti." Chaitanya Chaitanya was MLA from Naugavan Sadat Assembly seat of Amroha. He was born on 21st July 1947 in Uttar Pradesh. Before joining politics, Chaitanya has served the Delhi District Cricket Association in various capacities like President, Vice President, Secretary and Chief Selector, apart from being manager of the Indian team during their tour of Australia. Chaitanya was twice elected to the Lok Sabha from Amroha in Uttar Pradesh in 1991 and 1998, and was honored with the Arjuna Award in 1981. During his 12-year-long cricket career, Chauhan played 40 tests, scoring 2,084 runs with 16 half-centuries and 2 wickets. With Sunil Gavaskar, Chauhan formed a potent opening partnership for India, with the duo scoring over 3,000 runs, including 12 century stands. With inputs from Lucknow Bureau, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Well, a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the expansion of the NCC, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has approved a plan to expand the National Cadet Corps. It envisages enrolling 1 lakh cadets from 173 border and coastal districts. Over 33,000 of these cadets will be girls. 1,000 schools and colleges have been identified for their enrollment into the National Cadet Corps.
हमारे जो बॉर्डर इलाके हैं, हमारे जो कोस्टल इलाके हैं, वहां के करीब 173 डिस्ट्रिक्ट हैं जो किसी न किसी देश की सीमा या समुद्री तट से जुड़े हुए हैं। आने वाले दिनों में एनसीसी का विस्तार उन बॉर्डर डिस्ट्रिक्ट के नौजवानों के लिए किया जाएगा। बॉर्डर एरिया के कैडेट्स को हम करीब करीब 1 लाख नए एनसीसी के कैडेट तैयार करेंगे और उसमें 1/3 हमारी बेटियां हो, ये भी प्रयास रहेगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi presented the blueprint for the expansion of the National Cadet Corps in 173 border and coastal districts of the country on the 15th of August from the ramparts of the fort. The next day, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh approved the proposal. Defence Minister's office gave this information on Twitter. It said, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has approved a proposal for the National Cadet Corps for a major expansion scheme to meet the aspirations of youth in all border and coastal districts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had announced the NCC expansion scheme in his Independence Day address. A total of 1 lakh cadets from 173 border and coastal districts will be inducted in the NCC. 1/3 of the cadets would be girl cadets. More than 1,000 schools and colleges have been identified in border and coastal districts where NCC will be introduced. As part of the expansion plan, a total of 83 NCC units will be upgraded to impart NCC training to the cadets in border and coastal areas. The Army will provide training and administrative support to the NCC units located in the border areas. Navy shall provide support to NCC units in coastal areas, and similarly the Air Force will provide support to NCC units located close to the Air Force stations. NCC expansion plan will be implemented in partnership with the states. This will not only provide exposure to the youth of the border and coastal areas for military training and a disciplined way of life, but will also motivate them to join the armed forces. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
The Union MSME Minister Nitin Gadkari has expressed confidence that with the centre support, the micro, small and medium enterprises will increase their contribution to the economy as well as employment in the next 5 years. He was addressing the Swavalamban E-Summit 2020. And Nitin Gadkari said that the government will work for the empowerment of people from villages and make them self-reliant.
Presenting the future vision of employment opportunities in India in the Swavalamban E-Summit, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari stressed that the focus of the government is to generate employment avenues in the rural areas to stop the migration of youth to the urban clusters.
गांव में ऐसे सब लोगों को अगर हमने अपने ताकत पर अपने पैरों पर खड़ा कर दिया और वो स्वावलंबी बन गए, उनका पर कैपिटा इनकम अगर बढ़ा, तो वो काहे के लिए शहर में आएंगे? शहर में आने की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं होगी। वो अपने गांव में अगर आएंगे तो वहीं अच्छी स्कूल बनेगी, अच्छा कॉलेज बनेगा, अच्छा अस्पताल बनेगा और स्मार्ट विलेज जैसा बना, स्मार्ट सिटी जैसी बनती है वैसे स्मार्ट विलेज बनेगा। तो कहीं ना कहीं स्वावलंबन के द्वारा हम समृद्ध, संपन्न, शक्तिशाली भारत बना सकते हैं।
Gadkari said that the turnover for village industry is 88,000 crores. The aim of the government is to increase it to 5 lakh crores in the next 2 years. The centre is now restricting imports and trying to fill the supply via the MSMEs. E-commerce platforms are also being roped in to increase the reach of products to the international markets too. MSME sector has a huge contribution in the development of the country. Currently 30% of GDP is contributed by the MSME sector. 48% of our exports are from MSME. The sector has created 11 crore jobs. The government plans to increase MSME's exports to 60% in the next 5 years. This will also create 5 crore jobs in the next 5 years. The demand for organic produce can spur the employment opportunities in the country. Mithila paintings, metal artworks from Chhattisgarh and bamboo products offer many employment avenues. Import restrictions have increased the production of incense sticks in a big way in India. Similarly, if the rural artisans are connected with furniture design work, then India can be the furniture manufacturing hub for the country. High altitude honey fetches 6,000 rupees a kilo in the international market. It can be procured in India. For providing more employment opportunities, the centre is working on creating a bank of ideas and innovation. This endeavour will also utilize the expertise and reach of private sector and NGOs. Ajay Mishra's report, Pod DD India.
And in some good news for people of Jammu and Kashmir who can now access 4G mobile internet services, the Jammu and Kashmir administration has restored 4G mobile internet services in Ganderbal district in Kashmir and Udhampur in the Jammu region. The nation pays tribute to Bharat Ratna and former Prime Minister late Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his second death anniversary. The President, the Vice President, Prime Minister and Defence Minister paid tributes to the former Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind also unveiled a portrait of Vajpayee ji at the ICCR on the occasion.
The nation remembered late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on his death anniversary. He passed away on 16th August 2018. A special prayer was organized on Sadaiv Atal. President Ramnath Kovind led the nation in paying homage to the great leader. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also paid tributes to former Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited Sadaiv Atal and offered floral tributes. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also paid tributes to the former PM. The family members of late Vajpayee were also present at Sadaiv Atal and a special prayer meeting was organized there. Sadaiv Atal was dedicated to the nation after the death of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. President Kovind also unveiled a portrait of Vajpayee painted by Vasudev Kamath. President said that Atalji showed courage and solidarity with the government during the 1971 war. Due to this, he was selected to represent India in the United Nations on the Kashmir issue in 1994. President said that while he advocated good relations with neighbors, Atalji also gave a go-ahead to conduct nuclear tests.
वे सभी देशों, विशेषकर पड़ोसियों के साथ मधुर संबंधों पर जोर देते रहे। वे कहा करते थे कि मित्र बदले जा सकते हैं, लेकिन पड़ोसी नहीं। इसके साथ-साथ देश की सैन्य शक्ति को मजबूत बनाते हुए परमाणु परीक्षण का निर्णय लेने की दूरदर्शिता भी उनमें थी।
हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा, काल के कपाल पर लिखता मिटाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ।
PM Modi also remembered Atalji's contribution to the nation. He tweeted to offer his tributes and also shared a video on the occasion.
उनके भाषण की बड़ी चर्चा होती है, लेकिन शायद भविष्य में कोई मनोवैज्ञानिक दृष्टि से रिसर्च करने वाले व्यक्ति अगर उनकी बड़ी गहराई से एनालिसिस करेंगे तो जितनी ताकत उनके भाषण में थी, शायद उससे कई गुना ताकत उनके मौन में थी।
Home Minister Amit Shah and Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar also took to Twitter to offer rich tributes to the former Prime Minister. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the doyen of Indian politics. He was the leader who was respected by all and had a rapport with leaders cutting across party lines. Never in his long political career was a moment when even an iota of blemish was cast upon his integrity. He will always be remembered for his contributions to the development of India and to the Parliament also. With Shailendra Mishra, News Night Desk, DD India.
Well, the Modi government has taken several initiatives for the welfare of women. And during his Independence Day address on Saturday, the Prime Minister had highlighted several key issues regarding women that have been neglected in the past, but have been associated with health, welfare and security of women. Here's our report.
हुए सपने की सुने कौन सिसकी अंतर को चीर व्यथा पलकों पर ठिठकी हार नहीं मानूंगा रार नहीं ठानूंगा काल के कपाल पर लिखता मिटाता हूं गीत नया गाता गीत नया गाता.
The legendary poet politician.
Let's go back to this story then about the Prime Minister relating several key issues regarding women at his address from the Red Fort on Saturday. More in this report.
The Modi government has put issues related to women's empowerment at the centre of its development agenda. From toilets to sanitary pads, the government's commitment to the welfare and development of women has been clear. From the ramparts of the Red Fort in his Independence Day address on Saturday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi raised key issues related to women, which are not generally discussed. Among them, making sanitary pads available to women from weaker sections at a nominal cost. It clearly shows the Modi government is dealing with crucial development issues that went unattended.
उनकी शादी की सही आयु क्या हो, इसके लिए हमने कमेटियां बना की रचना की है. उसका रिपोर्ट आते ही बेटियों की शादी की उम्र के बारे में भी उचित फैसले लिए जाएंगे.
The Prime Minister explained how the government is taking steps to empower women. 6 months leave with salary to pregnant women, Muslim women freed from instant triple talaq, 70% of mudra loans to women, homes under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana registered in women's names, 22 crore Jandan accounts of the 40 crore Jandan accounts in women's names, sanitary pads available at 1 rupee at Jan Aushadhi centres, more than 5 crore sanitary pads sold in 6,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras, committee set up to decide the age of marriage for women. Not only this, during its 6 years in office till date, the Modi government has taken several initiatives for the welfare of women. Among the long list of measures are: new education policy provides for a gender-inclusive fund. Abortion has been permitted up to 24 weeks. Menstrual hygiene protocol. Permanent commission for women in the armed forces. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao has changed attitude towards the girl child. Nutrition campaign has reduced maternal and infant mortality. The Prime Minister has been emphasizing on encouraging leadership of women beyond empowerment. The government is committed and is working towards respect and parity for women in all opportunities. Because with women being empowered, New India will move forward with both engines running full throttle. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
So that brings us to In Focus tonight, and In Focus is this. Government committed to women's empowerment, and to discuss this we have with us Advaita Kala, is author and screenwriter and columnist. Thanks very much, ma'am, for being with us. Let's look at this issue holistically. There were several issues with regard to women that were not even being discussed, and the Prime Minister now raising these important issues from the Red Fort has changed the way everyone needs to think. First of all, there has to be a mindset change that came from Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. But now, a complete mindset change to everything regarding women, because, everything shouldn't be brushed under the carpet. The things have to be discussed and addressed. What would you say?
Oh, absolutely. I was thrilled listening to his speech yesterday, especially as a woman,
because I don't think there's ever been any prime minister who has discussed women and focused on women in the way that he has, not only in actions, we know that he's doing it in actions, but also in terms of just addressing taboos. You know, taboos like menstrual health, like access to sanitary pads. These are things that the prime minister's level just don't talk about ever, even in so-called countries, you know, which are way ahead supposedly than us when it comes to gender rights. You don't see their leaders addressing these issues. Look at how symbolic it is. He is at the ramparts of the Red Fort, truly a historic building, a setting, and from there he speaks of something so personal to so many women, so much a part of their lived experience, so much a part of the discrimination that they face, and he addresses it unequivocally, completely straightforwardly. I wanted to clap, frankly, because, you know, I've been participating in menstrual health hygiene days, World Menstrual Health Day, and really, you know, it's all about breaking the taboo, because these kind of issues are linked with increase in cervical cancer for women, for young girls dropping out of schools, for all kinds of taboos. And I think the Prime Minister addressing this has been very, very significant.
Indeed, and breaking the taboos is really the beginning. When we talk about, you know, the larger goal of gender parity, and the Prime Minister has moved more beyond empowerment. He's talked about women's leadership, you know, encouraging leadership of women in roles, and that is going to change the way our country, first of all, thinks, and the way our country will move forward. That's important, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, in the past we've heard, you know, politicians talk about women empowerment, and, you know, it's become something that, you know, as a woman you hear every time there's an election around the corner. It looks good on a manifesto. But what has happened with the Prime Minister is that he's taken the conversation further, and God knows that needed to happen. He's taken it from women empowerment to saying that women are a part of the nation building story. They are a part of the nation's success and progress, and that's exactly what we've been saying for a very long time, that, you know, we believe in empowerment. It's important, but empowerment just doesn't stop at rhetoric. You know, you have to make us part of the action. So be it in combat roles, be it with NCC, be it with the fact that nearly half of the Jan Dhan bank accounts belong women. I mean, there's financial empowerment, there's defending your country, there's choosing your partner with your marriage age, there is the triple talaq bill, which is a huge law for gender parity. You know, I mean, the kind of stress Muslim women underwent, the fact that they could be divorced at any point of time, that insecurity, this is something that he's addressed. I can go on and on, you know, be it total. You know, the fact that girls, there was a report by the World Bank wherein girls were dropping out of school in India at alarming rates because there were no toilets. So, you know, I mean, it's just incredible how, you know, he has moved from the basics to now making women a part of the India story.
Indeed, and we are also joined by Dr. V.K. Paul, a member of Niti Aayog. Thanks very much, sir, for being with us. So, you know, looking at it from the health angle as well, menstrual health, the Prime Minister raising this issue from the ramparts of the Red Fort, I mean, really took, made a lot of people proud of, you know, this issues that were totally taboo being discussed so openly by the Prime Minister, and necessarily so, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is the issue that has been unattended for years, and by attending to it, first of all, the health of women is important, and then only healthy people can really contribute to a greater extent, and this takes the the bigger goal of gender equality. Women's empowerment is below that, then gender equality to the next level.
Indeed, this announcement and the emphasis by the Honorable Prime Minister should be seen as a part of a wide spectrum of decisions and schemes and efforts that the government has mounted in the last 6 years. I would begin by saying a unique flagship mission is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao.
Yes.
which is looking at the very fundamental existence of women and girls in our society. And we have seen change, which was in many ways unexpected, because societal change of that nature is not easy to achieve through government schemes. The schemes have to be sensitive to the way the society operates, and that has made a difference. And we know that that is a symbol of empowerment and survival in its own way. Also, we must congratulate the government for initiatives targeted to nutrition, through the Poshan Abhiyan, for example, through reproductive and child health services under the National Health Mission, where a very dramatic and sustained improvement in maternal mortality ratio has been witnessed in these years. And likewise, it does, move on to other aspects. There's a unique scheme called Pradhan Mantri Matra Vandana Yojana, which provides cash transfer during the antenatal period and during the period post-birth, during lactation, to empower the woman and allow her to be at home with the baby. Because then you're losing wages if you're staying at home, and that's good for the baby as well as the mother. So that scheme, and then above all, let's not forget, Swachhata Abhiyan itself was a huge empowerment, huge empowerment for women in our country. So indeed, yesterday the Prime Minister has raised a very important dimension of women's empowerment and women's welfare and sensitivity toward the issues that concern our girls and women. And by the scheme that to provide sanitary napkins at a low cost, that's only
Dr. Paul,
one part, but that also should stimulate multiple such efforts on the part of the society, the state governments, and people at large.
Indeed, Dr. Paul, but when we see that women are going to be playing a much more significant role at all levels, we see that they will be playing a greater role, women will play a greater role in the formal sector, because women have always been playing a role. That's the whole point, but we've not monetized their role, even in the traditional in the setup. But in the formal sector now they'll be playing a greater role, and that's going to help the economy significantly, because the Prime Minister also pointed out whenever women have been given an opportunity, they have brought laurels to the country. So here's an opportunity. So I mean, we are looking at economic opportunities being created and generated and growth.
Absolutely right. Half the population are women, and their participation in employment and in vocations and in economic activities must be enhanced for us to realize the best possible potential that this great nation has. And in that regard, the pathway to that flows through education. It is, we see a very disturbing trend of girls, dropping out from middle to high school, for example, and then from higher secondary class 12 when it is about higher education. So the national education policy talks about gender inclusive fund to promote. That's just one way in which it should happen. There must be several ways in which we must ensure that the girls and the girl students continue to study as much as the boys do, and even more in a way, for them to be competent. And similarly, you need skills courses, vocational courses, so that the employment opportunities fall in their lap. And we do know that once such opportunities are created, in every walk of life, the girls shine. There's no doubt. But in education, we need to promote their participation in courses such as management, law, and other professional courses, and technological dimensions of our education, science, research, as well as in other areas.
Absolutely.
Because the fullest potential of India's society depends on how we take forward the opportunities for the women and girls. And I think the focus on adolescent health is very critical. And this particular initiative related to sanitary hygiene is, I would say, would be very, very, in particular, useful to adolescent girls who are passing from childhood to a womanhood transition, and they have concerns about themselves, their body image, their own, individuality, and so on. So this is a huge step forward. Above all, it breaks the taboo, as has been stated. Yes, indeed.
Ms. Kala, talking about adolescent health, there has been the concern about child marriages in the past, and women, even though there was the age group of 18 years, many women were getting married despite being under 18. And now there's a committee set up to decide the age of marriage. First of all, in the context of gender parity, I mean, there has to be there is the argument also of the of being 21 being the same for men and women. How would you look at this particular argument also, and the fact that there is a concern across the world, even where women in poorer societies and in groups where there have not been too much education, women are getting married as soon as they become adolescents.
Yes, absolutely. And what happens also is that even if you are not from that certain demographic which is financially weak,
yes,
and girls are still a responsibility and something that costs you money as opposed to boys who are a pair of hands for work. Even if you're not from that demographic, the social thought or the group think is such that if a girl can marry at 18, then get her married. So then you sort of make education, career, aspiration, all of these secondary to matrimony. And that really limits a woman's choices, a girl's choices, the way she can explore her options, her life. And if men get a little more time, I think women should as well, especially because girls do not have that kind of agency that boys do in our country. As a result, if something is legal, then it becomes far easier and compelling for parents to take the step and say, get her married off, she's 18 now. And that means no college in many cases, in mostly all the cases once you get married, no job, none of the things that really will lead women towards true empowerment, which is an education and the ability to earn a living should they ever require to, or have a job and have aspirations of their own. So, and there's that aspect to it, the sociological, and then there's also the physical aspect to it. Childbearing, is it healthy for women at a young age, at 16, at 17, at 18, to be bearing children? These are things, will the child be healthy, for example?
Absolutely.
Is there enough kind of, knowledge out there? Is there enough kind of maternal help out there for taking care of these things? So there's so many factors involved that I think it will be very prudent to look at this issue very seriously.
Indeed, and Dr. Paul, taking the role that women play to a next level, it requires a great deal of mindset change, because employers need to understand that women are capable in all aspects, even considering certain jobs for women, and saying that women do these jobs better than men. That kind of mindset also needs to change. People even in my particular profession, which is journalism, believe that women are better journalists than men. I mean, that may be true, but even saying that perhaps may not be the right thing. So things like this need to actually change. People need to actually get these stereotypes out of their minds and say that gender parity means gender parity. They are equal in all respects when they approach for a particular job. Treat people equally.
That is right, and I must also say that there is also a change that is happening. It is not that we are stuck, where we were 50 years ago. There is a genuine and slow, steady change in that direction. And I can tell you that in medical profession, medical students, there are more girls today than boys. There is a majority of students are girls, and of course girls make great doctors, there is no doubt. They make great surgeons, great pediatricians, great scientists. And yes, this narrative should be there, and it is not for the government to ignite this. It is the responsibility of all of us, the entire society and the leadership, the stakeholders in the society, that this narrative be highlighted and we make efforts in that direction. It's about half of India. And how can India's greatness be achieved if half of India does not realize full empowerment and full opportunities and fullest possible contribution to this great nation? Yes, indeed, absolutely, this is valid. And I think in that regard, the Honorable Prime Minister's very emphatic speech and emphatic words and a clear direction that he's goaded us to should be picked up by us for
Absolutely.
us all to contribute. And of course, within the government, we will look at multiple ways of enabling, multiple enabling ways to be translated into action.
Dr. V.K. Paul and Advaita Kala, thank you very much for being with us here on Newsnight. Moving on then to our next story, because at that discussion we came to the conclusion, obviously, that with the 50% of women in our country, if they are empowered and given equal opportunities, then the country has two engines. 250% engines working at full throttle, and that will take our country forward at a much faster rate. Moving on then to our next story. Now, the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden promised to stand with India against the threats faced from border regions and vowed to rely on the Indian American diaspora, which keeps the two nations together. At an event which was South Asians for Biden, Biden extended his wishes to India on Independence Day to all Indian Americans, and also said that New Delhi and Washington share a special bond that has deepened over many years. Let's listen.
India and US ties are all set to soar to new heights. Both countries have come a long way, and in this bonhomie and camaraderie is evident with Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden offering full support to India. Biden pledged that if elected, he would continue to rely on Indian American diaspora that binds the two nations together. On the occasion of the 74th India Independence Day, Biden addressed the Indian American community and released a policy document. Biden asserted that his administration will stand with India against the threats that New Delhi faces and will place high priority on bolstering ties with India.
The United States and India became closer friends and partners. Then the world will be a safer place. If elected president, I'll continue to believe it and continue what I've long called for, including standing with India and confronting the threats it faces in its own region and along its borders. Expanding greater two-way trades that opens markets and grows the middle class in both our countries. Taking on big global challenges together like climate change and global health security. And strengthening our democracies where diversity is our mutual strength, and where we have an honest conversation about all issues, as close friends do.
Biden said that he will place high priority on continuing to strengthen US-India relationship. He asserted that India-US share a special bond and remembers the historic civil nuclear deal which was signed 15 years ago between the two nations. Biden said that if US and India became closer friends and partners, then the world will be a safer place. Biden said that he would work on expanding the two-way trade between US and India and take on big global challenges like climate change and global health security. The Democratic candidate also said that he will work to strengthen democracy where diversity is the mutual strength if he gets elected. Apart from this, Biden promised to bring new reforms in the H-1B visa system and work towards eliminating country quota for green cards. The Democratic candidate took a snipe at the Trump administration for its crackdown on legal immigration and its sudden and harmful actions on H-1B visa. Biden also praised Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris by saying she's smart, tested and prepared. Speaking after Biden, Harris extended greetings of the Independence Day. He said Indian and US communities are bound together by so much more than our shared history and culture. The Biden campaign also emphasized its support to family-based immigration system and streamlining the process for religious worker visas. This is for the first time any Democratic presidential candidate has released a major policy document specifically for Indian Americans. With the Indian flag soaring high at the iconic Times Square in New York to mark India's 74th Independence Day was an example of close India-US ties. India's Consul General in New York, Randhir Jaiswal, hoisted the Indian flag during a special commemoration of the Independence Day at Times Square, organized by the Federation of Indian Association. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
In Bihar, the water level in the major rivers is receding. There is still no improvement, however, in the flood situation because, according to the Disaster Management Department, at least 81,44,000 people across 16 districts and 130 blocks and 1,310 panchayats have been affected by the flood so far. So the number of people who died in the flood related incidents in the state now stands at 25, and the highest number of deaths of 11 people, the deaths have been reported from Darbhanga. At least 6 people in Muzaffarpur, 4 in West Champaran, 3 in Madhubani, 2 in Saran, 1 each in Samastipur and Saharsa have died due to the floods. As many as 10 relief camps are operational in the flood-hit areas, accommodating over 12,000 people. Apart from this, around 5,80,000 people are being provided with cooked food through 723 community kitchens. As of now, Gandak, Budhi Gandak, Bhagmati and Kosi rivers remain above the danger mark in many places, but the water level in most of them is decreasing. The Meteorological Department has predicted light to moderate rainfall in for the next 48 hours in Bihar. At a time when parts of the country are being affected by floods, the issue related to sanitation and prevention of disease, these issues have assumed importance. Now, thinking out of the box, Eklavya Prasad launched a new model of ecological sanitation in the flood-hit Bihar. Here's the story.
Behind the success of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, there are millions of unsung heroes who have put together extraordinary efforts. They have overcome many challenges in implementing technologies with public participation. Despite being free from open defecation, the states in North India are still reeling under several sanitation issues, while problems have increased in the 55 flood-affected districts. In such a situation, social worker Eklavya Prasad, who is working on water and sanitation issues, has launched a new model of ecological sanitation commonly called EcoSan in the flood-hit areas of Bihar.
ज़्यादातर लोग जो विस्थापित हुए हैं या जिन गांवों में पानी भर गया है, उन इलाकों में एक्सेस टू सैनिटेशन बिल्कुल नहीं है, और जब तक ये बाढ़ का मौसम रहेगा, एक्सेस एक समस्या रहेगी। और उसके बाद जब बाढ़ का पानी रिसीड करेगा, जो समस्याएं हुई हैं इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को, सैनिटेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को, उसको जब तक ठीक नहीं किया जाएगा तब तक एक्सेस नहीं रहेगा। तो ऐसे हालात में हम लोगों को एक विकल्प, एक ऑल्टरनेटिव सैनिटेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में अवश्य सोचना चाहिए।
जवन गाढ़ा वाली बनल बा, तमन भर गइल पानी से, सारा लोग गइल बांध पर, हमार शौचालय बा सुरक्षित रहल, बचल रहल, ओमे पानी ना पहुंचे रहल।
In West Champaran, where open defecation has increased after the floods, Eklavya Prasad's eco-friendly toilets have been making a difference while keeping the surroundings clean. As Prime Minister Modi has called for a garbage-free India campaign, Eklavya Prasad's waterproof toilets are making it a success by also providing sanitation facilities to the flood-affected population. The concept of these toilets is based on the principle of recycling, where human wastes are separated at the source, and after adequate decomposition, they are later utilized as fertilizer in agricultural fields. It not only saves water, but also reduces the risk of groundwater contamination. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now let's bring you some news from across the country in this national roundup.
The pilgrimage to Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine resumed on Sunday after remaining suspended for nearly 5 months in view of the coronavirus pandemic. The yatra was suspended on 18th March. As per the SOPs, every pilgrim will have to wear a face mask and face cover and install Arogya Setu app on his or her mobile phone. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh has announced that centre will assist the Union Territory Administration of Jammu and Kashmir to establish grievance portal in each of the 20 districts of the UT. Jitendra Singh said that in pursuance of this endeavour, a focused team of officials from the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances would be constituted to work with the Jammu and Kashmir government in the coming days. Indian Railways has generated more than 5.5 lakh man-days of work under Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan in 6 states, which are Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. Around 165 railway infrastructure projects are being executed in these states worth 2,988 crore rupees. In the massive landslide that hit Rajamala in Idukki district in Kerala a week ago, 2 more bodies were recovered on Sunday, taking the death toll in the mishap to 58. Meanwhile, search operations are going on in the region for the missing 12 persons. The Indo-Tibetan Border Police has launched a Fit India Freedom Run at all its border posts and formations in the country, as part of which its troops and officers will undertake a 10-kilometer walk. Union Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju launched the campaign on the Independence Day and urged security forces to promote it in their establishments. The campaign will culminate on 2nd October. President, Vice President and Prime Minister have greeted the nation on the occasion of Navroz, the Parsi New Year, on Sunday. Navroz, which means a new day, marks the beginning of a fresh year for the Parsis. An elaborate feast is set up and friends and family gather to celebrate the day together.
A claim made by a fake newspaper editorial that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is planning to bring in a scheme in which 3,000 beggars will be selected, and they will take the Modi government's achievements and success to passengers on various trains. Now, the PIB fact-check team has found this to be fake and said that there is no such plan being carried out by the government. After months of speculation, India's most decorated captain MS Dhoni announced his retirement via an emotional Instagram post, and the announcement took the world of cricket by surprise, and fans poured in their tributes to the former India skipper.
MS Dhoni, the most successful Indian captain, announced his retirement from international cricket. As soon as the news broke, his lakhs of fans on Twitter began pouring their love and respect for the legendary wicketkeeper batsman. Home Minister Amit Shah and other politicians, his former teammates, including cricket icon Sachin Tendulkar, also wished him for the future. Union Home Minister Amit Shah expressed his gratitude to Dhoni for his contribution to sports and the country. I joined millions of cricket fans across the globe to thank MS Dhoni for his unparalleled contribution to Indian cricket. His cool temperament has turned several hot encounters in India's favour. Under his captaincy, India was crowned world champions twice in different formats. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari also lauded MS Dhoni on the day of his retirement. He tweeted, "Well played, MS Dhoni. You took India's name to the pinnacle of world cricket with your performance and leadership. Every Indian is proud of you. My best wishes on your next innings." Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar tweeted, "My best wishes to MS Dhoni as he calls it a day. Captain Cool, as he is rightly called, has made us proud on up-teen occasions. Apart from his brilliant cricketing skills, his composure, self-belief and excellent decision-making under pressure is what makes him a legend." Union Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju said, "Thank you for all the wonderful memories, MS Dhoni. Your belief, confidence, courage and hard work will continue to inspire generations." Sachin Tendulkar tweeted, "Your contribution to Indian cricket has been immense, MS Dhoni. Winning the 2011 World Cup together has been the best moment of my life. Wishing you and your family all the very best for your second innings." Saurav Ganguly, now the president of the BCCI, said, "It is the end of an era. What a player he has been for the country and the world cricket. His leadership qualities have been something which will be hard to match, especially in the shorter format of the game." Indian cricket team captain Virat Kohli tweeted, "Every cricketer has to end his journey one day, but still, when someone you have gotten to know so closely announces that decision, you feel the emotion much more. What you have done for the country will always remain in everyone's heart." Virendra Sehwag said, "To have a player like him, mission impossible. Na koi hai, na koi tha, na koi hoga, MS ke jaisa. Players will come and go, but there won't be a calmer man like him." Dhoni, with his connect with people having aspiration, was like a family member to many cricket lovers. Om Finishai Nama. Sports Desk, DD India.
And several personalities from the world of cricket have said there will be a void in cricket because Dhoni has retired, and they wished him well for the future.
He finishes off in style, an Independence Day sunset ending to a glittering career, to one of the true badshahs of the sport. What amazed me about MS was his calmness and composure in handling extreme pressure and criticism. As a leader and captain, well, he can sit on Mount Everest with those kind of achievements. Multiple World Cups, the Champions Trophy, #1 test team in the world, IPL titles, the Champions League, you name it and he's got it. I wish Sakshi, Ziva, MS himself and his family all the mental peace and happiness in his retirement to continue to enthrall us during the IPL MS. I salute you, Lieutenant Colonel MS Dhoni.
I think retired at the Test cricket when our team was in Australia. He didn't announce it that time, and now I think he didn't have a press conference. Now again, he announced his stay to the BCCI. Well, that's him in the sense, so I'm not surprised.
दुख तो होता ही है जब भी कोई बड़ा खिलाड़ी जाता है तो उसका वैक्यूम जो है बहुत बड़ा होता है, क्योंकि उसकी भरपूर्ति कोई दूसरा आकर यंगस्टर कर पाएगा या नहीं कर पाएगा, ये सबसे बड़ी बात होती है, क्योंकि ऐसे खिलाड़ी बहुत कम आते हैं और बड़ी सदियों में आते हैं, जैसे कपिल देव हुआ, सुनील गावस्कर हुए, सौरभ हुए, या MS धोनी हुए, या विराट कोहली जो आप खेल रहे हैं, तो ये ऐसे खिलाड़ी बड़े रेयर ब्रीड होते हैं और ये इनके ऊपर जो कंट्री है डिपेंड करती है। जो आज हमारी जो ग्रोथ हुई है वो महेंद्र सिंह धोनी की वजह से हुई है क्रिकेट में।
अचानक फैसला उनका ऐसे ही फैसला होता है, ये अचानक नहीं है। उनका जो भी फैसला टेस्ट टीम में रहते हुए भी वो एक बैक अनाउंस कर दिया कि हम टेस्ट अब नहीं खेलेंगे, तो उनका जो फैसला होता है वो काफ़ी सोच समझ के और भारतीय क्रिकेट को जो भलाई हो उसी में।
भारत के लिए बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धियां हैं, 2 विश्व कप जिताने की, भारतीय टीम को टेस्ट में नंबर 1 बनाने की, IPL में शानदार परफॉर्मेंस है, चैंपियनशिप जिताने की। तो निश्चित तौर पर महेंद्र सिंह धोनी के फैंस को एक तरह से दुख भी होगा, लेकिन मुझे लगता है युवाओं को आगे आने का अवसर मिलेगा, क्योंकि बहुत लंबे समय तक महेंद्र सिंह धोनी खेले हैं, उनके स्थान को भर पाना इतना आसान नहीं होगा, लेकिन भारतीय क्रिकेट के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा सेवाएं उन्होंने दी हैं। तो समस्त भारतीय क्रिकेट फैंस की ओर से भी उनको बहुत बहुत आभार और धन्यवाद।
Lewis Hamilton dominated the Spanish Grand Prix to extend his lead in the Formula One World Championship. The Mercedes driver led every lap from pole position at Barcelona's Circuit de Catalunya, taking the checkered flag ahead of Red Bull's Max Verstappen, with teammate Bottas in the third position. Hamilton's win now extends his World Championship lead to 37 over Verstappen. And with that we conclude. Thanks very much for being with us. Namaskar.